Hello everyone, an update here on the loss of a Russian A-50 and Il-22M aircraft. So, since I recorded my first video this morning, covering these losses over the Sea of Azov, we've had more confirmation of a shoot-down incident taking place. First, this cockpit recording from the Il-22M. I'll play it twice so you can, take it in properly. So that was from an Il-22M, requesting emergency landing in a place called Anapa, which will be referring to this, Anapa Airport in Krasnodar. This is a civilian, not a military airbase, but since the war began, civilian flights here have been suspended. It is possible that Russia has been using it for operations, but I don't have confirmation of that happening yet. So this location fits in with what we know about this aircraft being claimed to have been hit near the Crimean Bridge. As you can see, the distance from here to the Crimean Bridge isn't too far. Now, other air bases in this sort of region are highlighted in red, with this one being the nearest to the bridge. So, if this location is true, I expect the Il-22M would have been heading east when hit, and landed here so it didn't have to perform any major manoeuvres, which may have caused the engines to fail or that sort of thing, rather than head to, say, Crimea, where it may have had to turn around. Russian sources are confirming the loss of two aircraft too with telegram posts, an example posted here. So you can see that Russia is pretty much pointing the finger of blame at Russia's own air defences, rather than saying Ukraine shot these down. Another telegram page confirming it is this, Romanov, which is another Russian propaganda page. This one confirming an A-50 shot down and the Il-22 aircraft damaged and landing in Anapa Airport, which corroborates the recording we listened to. So that recording is correct. It's a proper recording of the Il-22M requesting an emergency landing at Anapa Airport. Now, in my first video, I covered the ranges of this rough area and the SAM systems which could reach them, and I found it extremely unlikely that Ukraine would be able to shoot down these aircraft operating near the Crimean Bridge with known SAM systems, as they were reportedly downed over the Sea of Azov, and the reports said, the early reports, that this was near the Crimean Bridge. However, at least for the A-50, I don't think that's the case. If the A-50 was further north in the Sea of Azov, closer to Ukraine, as shown here, and there is quite a bit of evidence to support an AN-50 flight here, in the north of the Sea of Azov. Now at first, it seems too close for an AN-50 AWACS aircraft to be flying this close to Ukraine. However, this statement from British intelligence says Russia is using the A-50 to identify targets over Ukraine for the S300 missiles. It says the A-50 can identify aircraft at longer ranges because of its altitude. Now, Russian shills online bragged about this a few months ago too, bizarrely once claiming over 20 Ukrainian aircraft were downed in a few days using this method. Clearly twaddle. But Russia clearly is using this method and may have managed to have some success with it. Certainly not 20 aircraft though. Otherwise, we would definitely see that in effect, as it would affect air control and air supremacy over Ukraine, which hasn't been the case. But most sources put this A-50 increasing the S300's detection range to 400 kilometers away. And as seen here, in order to do that, they need to fly the A-50 close to Ukraine in order to cover as much airspace as possible. They likely have similar flights being conducted to in the north in order to fully blanket eastern and central Ukraine for these S300 systems. Admittedly, it's a pretty good tactic, use the A-50 to increase the S300's range. Whether they've had any success with it or not, we can't say, because I'm going to completely ignore the Russian claims of using it to shoot down 20 or so Ukrainian aircraft, because that's clearly nonsense. And I don't get why they go so over the top with the lies. I mean, if he said one or two aircraft, I'd say, okay, that's believable. Perhaps they have had that sort of success with it. But 20, nah, not buying it. Now, here is a bit more compelling evidence. Radio and nukes have shared this today. This is contrails detected on satellite imagery near Berdyansk on the 14th of January. So, this is definitely looking like this region is the flight path of Russia's A-50 AWACS aircraft in order to provide coverage of Ukrainian airspace here. So, knowing the flights of the A-50 patrolling the coastline of the Sea of Azov like this, did Ukraine spring a trap and position a Patriot launcher close to the front lines in order to bag one? It could definitely reach, as you can see. The more I think about it, the more I think that very well may be the case. It wouldn't be the first time that Ukraine has used a Patriot as a trap like this. Now, the Il-22M was reported as being near the Crimean Bridge, and that area can't be reached by Ukraine's SAM systems, not the Patriot or the S300. One could have been in the air near the A-50 and got hit by Patriot too, but if that's the case, would it fly all the way south to carry out an emergency landing at a civilian airport, rather than Taganrog or Rostov, which is closer? It could be that it's two separate incidents. The A-50 was hit by Ukrainian air defense, the Patriot, and then the Il-22M was hit by Russian air defense. Maybe who were panicking a bit after the reports of the A-50 getting hit and thought there were Ukrainian missiles in the air and accidentally hit an Il-22M. Or, and here's another possibility, what if Ukraine coincided a drone or missile attack with the time these aircraft were airborne, thus confusing the Russian air defences as to which was a drone and which was a Russian aircraft? It's a possibility, maybe utilising electronic warfare devices with the drones too. But either way you look at it, it's safe to say two very important aircraft were hit. The most important one being the A-50, destroyed. Russia only has 15 A-50s in service too, so they're not in huge supply. And if this was a Ukrainian strike, it's going to lay to rest Russia's plans to use these A-50s to support S300 operations, as it's clear it's dangerous for them to fly that close now. I definitely feel certain that the A-50 was another victim of Patriot. The flight patterns detected by radio nukes match the area, and the Patriot positioned in Zaporizhia and Donetsk towards the south could cover that area easily. And definitely you'd have to think Ukraine will want to get rid of one of these, as they are key targets. Now the Il-22M is a big question mark. As mentioned earlier, reports say this was near the Crimean Bridge, which is out of range of Patriot and out of range of the S300. Ukraine has nothing which would be able to hit this, nothing known. It is possible they have managed to get some of the 400-kilometre range S300 missiles from somewhere and use that. But that is a big stretch. I can't see where they would get their hands on some of those from. And the Il-22M, if it was hitting the same area as the A-50, why wouldn't it go to the nearer Taganrog or Rostov Air Base instead? Unless the damage was slight, they didn't realise how badly damaged it was and it gradually got worse on its way south, and they then made the decision to land at the other airport instead. But then, surely if you've taken a missile up the Jaxi, you go to the nearest airbase just in case. Hopefully, we can find out just where exactly the Il-22M was. The report that said it was near the Crimean Bridge could easily be wrong, of course, and this was also in the same area as the A-50, and the Patriot managed to hit both of them. This is a command and control aircraft, so it does actually make more sense for it to be monitoring the front lines rather than flying over the Crimean Bridge. But we are going to have to wait for more information on that one. In the meantime, safe to say, two Russian aircraft are now destroyed, including the very important A-50. I will do an update if we get more information. In the meantime, I'm going to play a video from Sanath about the ongoing fundraiser. Thanks so much, and take care, everybody.
Okay, Hello Suchomimus community, I'm Sanath. Hopefully you've seen the earlier fundraisers that we've done and my relationship with Yuri and my connection to Ukraine. I'm here out in the east. I've been staying with the guys for a number of days. It is cold, the conditions are harsh, but our spirits are high. With your continued support, we'll be able to get this over the line and keep this fight going. Thank you very much.